That's a good view though, isn't it?
In our search for Dr Ruja Ignatova,
We're getting near the top here.
new developments are pointing us in a very unexpected direction.
Yeah.
Cape Town, South Africa.
Really nice views.
A place known for its beautiful beaches, sunny weather, and Table Mountain and its famous cable cars.
Whoa.
But also as a popular destination for foreign criminals
Is it Krasimir speaking?
who want to lay low.
Do you think that there is a Bulgarian organized crime component?
In South Africa?
Yeah.
No, my friend.
For the first time in years, our search for Dr Ruja feels like it's moving again. The US authorities have just increased their reward for information about her to $5 million.
Tips that lead to the arrest and or conviction of Ms. Ignatova will be eligible for this new $5 million reward.
Die bulgarische Mafia dort vor Ort einfach sehr stark ist.
And a German TV documentary is now claiming Ruja's been spotted alive and well.
Posten, ihr Urlaubsparadies sozusagen.
Very close to where the Bulgarian gangster Krasimir Kamenov, known as Kuro, was murdered.
He hadn't had time to really respond and he was executed. Quite a professional hit.
Just as he seemed ready to talk about Ruja. While we scrambled to make sense of all this, I remember what the IRS agent Rich Reinhardt told me a year earlier.
Somebody came out and called you up tomorrow and said, Mr. Bartlett, I know for sure I saw her. You're packing up your crew and you're going.
He was the man who started the US investigation into OneCoin.
It's going to lead you on a trail until you disprove that theory.
And in 6 years of looking for Dr Ruja, this Cape Town lead feels like the strongest one we've ever had. This is the missing Cryptoqueen.
We are a bit too high up now for my liking though, to be honest with you.
Episode 14.
Oh man.
The Cablecar. Dr Ruja has been on the run now for more than 8 years. Every few days I visit the FBI's 10 most wanted list just in case her face suddenly disappears. But every day, there she is, staring back at me. Jet black hair, expensive jewellery, signature red lipstick. Now with a $5 million reward for any information leading to her arrest. Probably making her the most wanted woman in the world.
Ruja Ignatova.
Which seems to be propelling her to a new level of fame.
She's a con artist.
Especially on South African TikTok.
Have you seen this woman?
Memorize his face, report it, and share the money with me.
And she's apparently...
What?
in Cape Town.
No. She's worth $5 million. 90 million rand.
I need that 90 million rand ASAP.
But before we do anything, I want to speak to someone who understands the art of disappearing. We live in a world full of videos, cameras, surveillance. Is it really possible that Ruja could stay hidden all this time? And in a famous global city and tourist hotspot like Cape Town?
You know, people contact me with the strangest stuff.
If, like Dr Ruja, you want to vanish, you might want to follow the advice of Frank Ahern.
I'm pretty good at figuring situations out and how to resolve extreme and bizarre situations.
For a fee, Frank says he's helped stalking victims, people receiving death threats, even lottery winners, all disappear.
I guess, given your sort of work, you would come into contact with some pretty unusual characters.
A lot of dark characters too, and a lot of lying characters, I'm very cautious of who I do business with because people lie to me all the time about the reasons they want to disappear. I want to disappear. I'll be like, why? I just want to go. It's like, well, nobody just wants to go.
So, if Ruja had come to you, you wouldn't even tell us. I mean, how do we know that you haven't helped her?
She's a criminal. I wouldn't have helped her. I'm real cautious about that, believe me. You help someone like that, you end up in a garbage can with no head or something like that.
And the FBI will be onto you pretty quick anyway.
Yeah, but that's the least of your problems. The real problem is knowing the location of somebody who stole $3 billion. I mean, because you're the weak link in the story.
I'm left thinking, do I actually want to find this woman at this point?
It'd be a good score if you did.
Yeah, but I also don't want to end up in a garbage can.
Well, if you do, I could say we said it here first, you know what I'm saying? And we can just laugh about it.
Frank says a lot of his work involves convincing people that disappearing isn't for them. It's really not as easy or as enjoyable as people might think.
The internet has made it almost like a cathartic thing. We can go online, we can dream about Fiji, we can open a bank account online, we can get on an airplane immediately. So we can kind of change our lives almost immediately. But then there's the reality. Can you afford it? Can you live in that country? Can you earn money in that country? So a lot of times people contact me at that pre-stages of dreaming, and then I have to burst their bubble.
But if you still want to go, Frank says getting to your desired destination is the easy bit. The hard bit is staying hidden.
You have to exist as a disappeared person, and there are rules to that.
Rule 1. A careful plan.
Part of the planning is understanding the client of what they're capable of. How can you acclimate, and how will you survive?
Rule 2. Nothing in your new life should be attached to your old identity.
Your apartment needs to be under a corporation name or an Airbnb or under somebody else's name or a sublet.
Rule 3. Have a plausible fake background story.
You can't just be the weirdo who goes in the building and doesn't talk to anybody.
Rule 4. It sounds obvious, but never ever tell anyone who you really are.
If you tell one person, you've told the world.
Rule 5. Cut off all contact from your previous life.
You've got family, you've got friends, you've got children. What about contacting people from your old life? Is that something that you'd advise against, presumably?
Wrong. Don't do that, man. Look, when you walk away, you walk away. You have to always assume that your predator has more money and more contacts than you, and they have contacts in law enforcement, and those law enforcement individuals might break the law, like pull your mother's phone records, extract emails, whatever it may be. So you can't run the risk of contacting people from the past.
What about fake leads, fake trails? Because I don't know if you heard this one on the Cryptoqueen, but a rumour is circulating now that she was actually murdered a year after she disappeared. But we can't really work out whether that's true or whether that's someone trying to feed information out there because people don't want her to be found.
So if I had to guess, I would say that's highly probable. Most people do, create some sort of disinformation, which I used to suggest people do. If you're not wanted by the law, disinformation works. If you're wanted by the law, it doesn't always work because they have the manpower and the money to follow those leads.
Ruja's wanted by the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world, the FBI. an agency with big resources and access to cutting-edge technology, which would make Ruja's 8 years on the run even more impressive, but not impossible.
Technology is only good if somebody is monitoring it. You could be in downtown London, they got a gazillion cameras there, but if they spot you, they still got to call a human being to come looking for you and capture you. Most people get busted not because of technology, but because of a human action. Somebody spotted them.
Listening to Frank, I now feel a bit more optimistic that maybe she is out there and somewhere like South Africa. It would make sense. Frank says people have to be able to acclimatise to their new location. We know Ruja loved luxury, the fancy cars, the top restaurants, expensive shops. There's plenty of that. The climate's great too. Cape Town even has a large community of expats from different European countries where Ruja could easily blend in. Many of them have private security and live in gated compounds in Cape Town's wealthy suburbs, which is exactly where a source told that German documentary team that Ruja had been spotted.
Giving us a few things to think about. Well, I'll let you know if we get her, and Rob will let you know if we end up in a garbage can.
If you do, I will send my condolences.
Appreciate that.
But before we fly halfway around the world, there's something else we need to figure out. Why did the US authorities increase the reward for Ruja?
Hello, this is Cart.
Hello, Cart. Jamie here.
I'm hoping I might get some clarity from Cart Weiland.
Yeah, thanks very much for taking this call on.
He's from the US Government Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, known as INL.
INL deals with drugs and thugs, so that's what we go after every day. We try to combat narco-trafficking, drug traffickers around the world.
You might be wondering what all this has to do with Ruja, so a quick explainer. Dr Ruja is on the FBI's world-famous 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list, and it was the FBI who put up the initial reward money, $250,000. But because of the INL's interest in the case, that reward's been boosted to $5 million. Still, I'd like to know more about why Dr Ruja falls into Cart's drugs and thugs category.
I think you're aware of a lot of the connections, with Bulgarian organized crime and with certain individuals here in the States as well. So would rather not get into specifics, but let's just say we all think that she deserves a place on the list.
Cart's not giving too much away here, so I figure I might as well dive into the main reason for doing this interview, to know why Ruja's reward suddenly increased when it did.
It's a conversation that occurs between the U.S. State Department, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and ultimately it's up to the Secretary of State at times in coordination with the Attorney General to decide who rises to that level.
It was interesting timing for us because just about 3 weeks before we put out an episode where we looked at the theory that you've probably seen circulating that she was actually murdered. Was the timing of the increased reward a coincidence, or were you sort of trying to counter that theory that was circulating that she might have been dead?
Let me. Could we just go off mics for a sec?
While Cart mysteriously goes off mic, let's dig a bit further into this Cape Town sighting.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
A German TV documentary has reported that Dr Ruja was seen in Cape Town.
What's the provenance of this? How strong is it?
I'll see if we can get him on a call next week.
When we contacted them, they wouldn't tell us too much. Now that's pretty normal. They have to protect their sources. So we contacted the German police to see what they knew about this. They've been looking for Ruja since 2016. I didn't expect them to reply, to be honest. But amazingly, they did. Okay,
Everyone
all
ready?
good?
Yeah.
For the very first time, the lead German investigator, who's worked on this case for nearly a decade now, agreed to talk to us publicly about their search. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. For safety reasons, she's asked to remain anonymous.
I consider her to be a very intelligent person.
So her words are read by an actor.
If she's noticed in one place and things get tight there and she goes somewhere else again, I can't speculate, of course, but if you have unlimited money and can think about it extensively in advance, you have a good chance of succeeding for a while.
She probably knows more about Dr. Ruja than almost anyone. And she doesn't think that Dr. Ruja was murdered in 2018.
Neither the Bulgarian police nor any other police force has been able to provide any evidence to prove this beyond doubt. So far, these are assumptions from my point of view.
She thinks Dr. Ruja is alive.
There's no certain proof that she is alive, but there's also no certain proof that she's dead. I think that's exactly why it's so hotly debated.
She tells us their search for Ruja is active.
I can't tell you how many investigators we have on the case or what kind of measures are being taken. What I can say, however, is that there are regular tips about Dr. Ruja Ignatova.
This investigator is even confident that she will one day find Dr. Ruja.
Sure, we'll get her. I'm convinced that we will find her. The question is always when. She's in a very good position to continue this for a fairly long time. But experience has shown that at some point everybody makes a mistake. And I'm very much convinced that she will make a mistake too.
This is the third law enforcement officer I've interviewed for this podcast, and it's fair to say that so far they haven't given much away. There's even a term for it, serving up nothing burgers. But when I bring up the sighting in South Africa, is it one of many leads from all over the place? Her answer feels more like a something burger.
Or is it a particular lead of interest?
Of course, there's always a lot of speculation about where you could go if you want to go into hiding. South Africa is now a recurring topic. I would say it was a good tip.
In my mind, things are starting to click into place. We release more details about Ruja's possible murder, but the US authorities know she isn't dead. So when the story starts circulating, they up the reward to send a signal. And not long afterwards, a documentary team's tipped off that she's in Cape Town. The German police seem to think it's a good lead, and they don't think she's dead either. And then there's Kuro's mysterious murder, just around the corner from where Ruja was spotted. It all feels like too much of a coincidence. But let me tell you something about searching for someone like Dr. Ruja. When you've been looking for someone for so long, you start to see patterns everywhere. When you want something to be true, it's amazing how you can find reasons to convince yourself. That's what happened to the people who invested in OneCoin. But it also happens to us journalists too. Because when you look at each jigsaw piece on its own, that picture starts to fall apart.
It was obviously a killer question.
Okay, sorry.
Cart Weiland has returned from his mysterious break.
I just wanted to make sure that I had a decent response and didn't just feed you a nothing burger.
After I asked him why Ruja's reward was increased when it was.
You asked about the timing. It has taken a bit of time. What took a little bit longer was the fact that, this is a major fraud case and in most respects is new. when it comes to the type of case that is included in the rewards program. So it just took us a bit longer to have those conversations with our counterparts at the other agencies.
You're saying that it wasn't really in response to the stuff that we'd put out, which was looking at the possibility that she was murdered. We wondered whether part of this, the timing, was just to make sure that people realised that you were still really looking for her.
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, we obviously love your podcast and are glad that you're including various theories about, her whereabouts and whatnot. But, we operate independently, and, I don't think in this particular case that press stories, forced our hand in one way or the other.
Oh, so yeah, that's a shame that you're not just doing everything based on what we write. I'm really, really disappointed.
I mean, which is not to say you all don't have influence. You certainly do, but not when it comes to that sort of decision.
There's one final thing we need to ask Cart. We spotted other criminals wanted by the INL who we're not even sure are still alive. So what does that mean for Ruja?
Well, that's a good question. I would say that we still gather info about cases for, potential convictions, but more importantly, for related cases. So, the fact that, again, I'm not going to comment on a particular case, but let's say that, someone is 100 years old and, most accounts may be suggesting that he or she is deceased. That doesn't mean that we're not going to stop our inquiries and potentially even offering those rewards, because the information that we receive, may lead to prosecutions of related individuals or co-conspirators, or that sort of thing. So it's still worth our time, regardless of whether or not an individual himself or herself can be brought to justice in a courtroom.
I guess I'd assumed that the new reward was based on new information, a fresh sighting, proof of life, that they needed to squash the idea that she'd been killed. Maybe they'd heard something about South Africa. We'll probably never know exactly why, but it feels like the timing of the reward being increased isn't as significant as we first thought. And when we push the German police on the strength of their South Africa lead, it doesn't seem as strong as we first thought either.
The essential facts are now in the press, which we also have. But from my point of view, no essential facts have been added that would reveal the exact whereabouts of Dr. Ruja Ignatova. There are indications that there were contacts with South Africa in the past, but where she might be is something else again.
Then there was Kuro's assassination. We can't really work out what it means, but we assumed it was connected to Ruja somehow, adding weight to the South Africa theory.
Look, you can think of so many motives for doing something like this.
But in Cape Town, Aaron Heyman, the crime reporter who spoke to Kuro, warns us against connecting the dots.
I've often found in my work and investigations, it's not always what you think it is.
Today, Aaron works for the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organised Crime. He's just written a paper specifically on the growing influence of Bulgarian criminals in South Africa. So he knows this world really well. He thinks it's likely that Kuro had many enemies.
It remains to be seen whether this hit was an international hit or whether it was carried out by more local actors. It could have had something to do with things that were happening in Bulgaria with regards to his associates over there. It could have had to do with a botched cocaine trafficking operation. It could have had to do with his involvement with Ruja. Sometimes it's things that are completely unrelated. So I'm keeping an open mind about it.
I know Frank and I joked about me turning up in a bin, but I am actually really worried about that. This story now involves organised crime groups. People we were trying to interview have been assassinated in South Africa. And we can only risk going somewhere if we think there's a good chance we might actually find her. So from London, we monitored social media in South Africa. And although one person claims to have seen Ruja, that went nowhere. We spoke to local journalists, other contacts we had in Cape Town. We tried to talk to local police. Months went by and nothing. No news. No new sightings. Maybe Ruja is in Cape Town. Maybe she was there and left as soon as it was reported. But for now, this is just another lead that's gone nowhere.
I think it's starting to get a bit higher though.
Oh yeah, so that cable car trip.
That's a good view though, isn't it?
That wasn't going up the famous Table Mountain.
Doors are opening. Welcome to Greenwich Peninsula Station.
It was London. Sorry if you felt a bit tricked, but I wanted to show you something.
Oh, I'll do that again though.
There have been times where I genuinely felt like these leads were going somewhere. But the truth is, after 6 years of this, every time I get an exciting sounding lead now, like South Africa, I expect it to turn into a nothing burger. Because so far, they always have. It would be very easy to keep teasing you, like I did at the beginning of this episode, making you think we're on the verge of an exciting breakthrough, so you will click play next. But we're 14 episodes in. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, let's find a cafe.
As Rob and I get off the cable car, we wander over to the old Millennium Dome in Greenwich, now the O2 Arena, and stop to discuss what to do next.
There's been so many false reports of her.
I hate to admit it, but we're not any closer to finding Ruja than we were 6 years ago.
Then you throw a load of money into the mix. It's the hot story. It's good social content as well to be sharing that you've seen someone. It's all dramatic. I don't know, it just does feel like it's a recipe for false positives.
As we consider our next move, I get a phone call.
Hello? Hi Jim, it's Jen. Oh, hey Jen, how you doing? I'm actually just here with Rob.
It's Jen McAdam, the Scottish OneCoin investor.
Yeah, not bad. How are you doing?
Maybe we've got this all wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've been obsessed with trying to find the woman who sits at the top of the OneCoin pyramid. I suppose I wanted the Hollywood moment where the journalist catches the baddie.
Oh.
Maybe we should have been thinking more about the woman at the bottom of the pyramid.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe what matters now isn't finding Dr. Ruja. It's finding her money. Maybe Jen McAdam and other OneCoin investors might be able to get back what they've lost. And that feels like something that's actually possible. Something that would make all these years of work feel like they were worth something. What I didn't realise at the time was how dramatic that would turn out to be.
£1 million worth of artwork. And she had an Andy Warhol painting stuffed in the cupboard.
She had a painting literally made of money.
She did, yeah.
Because as usual with Dr. Ruja, things are never quite what they seem.
The first thing out of their mouths was, what do I know about this Dr. Baruja? I said, I don't know, I've never heard of him. And they said, well, it's not him, it's her. And I said, I haven't heard of her either.
The Missing Cryptoqueen is presented by me, Jamie Bartlett. It was written by me and Rob Byrne. Rob Byrne was the producer, and Georgia Catt was the executive producer. The music is by Phil Channel and Desislava Stefanova and the London Bulgarian Choir. The commissioner was Dylan Haskins. It's a BBC Studios audio production for BBC Sounds and BBC Radio 5 Live.
Right, where are we?
We are near London Bridge. We're at the Marilyn Monroe exhibition. Why are we here?
I thought you were a big fan.
Not really, no, apart from Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
But
What
you
film
know someone who is a big fan.
Yes, yes.
I admit this is a long shot. I gave them some photos of Ruja, just on the off chance.
Wow.
So I think we
Okay.
should go in and see if
Yeah.
anyone's spotted her.
Come on then.
Have a look around.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Well,
Thanks
any
for
questions,
that.
just come let us know.
That's the replica of the Happy Birthday, Mr. President dress. That is the Andy Warhol of Marilyn Monroe, isn't it? Ruja did have an Andy Warhol. Ruja was obsessed with how she looked. I mean, you can see it from all the plastic surgery she was having through the years. To kind of look a bit more like Marilyn Monroe, if you think about it, actually that's what we were told, that she was now much thinner and had blonde hair. Maybe she's trying to go full Marilyn.
If she had stand up here, would anyone be any the
even
wiser?
know- would we even know?
But no one's seen her. Should we go?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Marilyn. Did enjoy